I'll introduce my phrase for the morning. Grateful abundance. Appreciating the abundance. Abundance of oxygen. Sunlight. Love. Companions. Friends. Good morning, Ian. Good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, Ian.
Morning, everyone.
Afternoon, Ian.
Afternoon, Heinz.
Hi, Ian.
Hi. Good morning, good afternoon.
I invite you to grateful abundance. What do you want to appreciate?
I'm grateful for abundance of friends. I feel really greatly abundant. Yeah. So I can resonate that this morning when you said that. It's just beautiful because it's just like the beat of your heart, the breath. Yeah. Just the way you look at yourself in the mirror. and then have your friends. Because that's the connection that you want. It's just gratitude. It's appreciation. It's valued. It's there when you have a shoulder to cry on. Yeah. It's there when you're having a good laugh and you can laugh. And it's just great of abundance to just be present. Loving. Because that's who you are. It's nothing than that, than love. So I'll add on to the greatness of abundance, of the love of friends. So thank you.
I'm grateful for an abundance of intangibles. And the ability to see that. All that potential that's been piling up. And I'm grateful for learning how to convert that potential into material form.
Yes, it's always available. But depends on our orientation to it. Is whether it's available or not.
Yeah, that's why I'm grateful for that learning. And a realization that I'm an energy type that influences potential. Like conducting an orchestra. I guess that's why a conductor has a wand.
All the possible possibilities.
Yeah, exactly. Limitless.
So a practice of mine is when something shows up, is to acknowledge it as the now moment. It's like something, and then view it through what I want, like how I want it, what I'm after, my intentions. And then to wonder, what is the action? What to do about it? And it takes so many different shapes as that question is asked. And so Heinz in the possible possibilities is honoring that something, whatever shows up. And playing with it. Maybe making sense of it. And I honor the example I had yesterday of that. They made a connection to someone with enough level, seniority, that could hear our message. And extremely excited about it. They are. Complete awe and confusion of why no one else is doing anything about it. And so as I looked at this situation, where am I? Where do I want it to go? The something I got was just energy rising. Intense energy rising. And I knew what that meant. And that's what I'm grateful for.
Yeah, that's the part I like to play with. That intense energy rising. Gets my mojo going.
Mhm. That's the power of the silence. For me, to just pick up on those subtleties that have been overridden by my automatics. Overridden by my, that's what I should do, have to do, need to do.
Yeah.
No, it's not over yet.
Yeah, the silence is where the space where you influence the potential.
Mhm. Not in the way you think,
Exactly.
not in the
And
way
you-
you want it. Eventually, though, eventually. Stick with it long enough, right?
Yep. Yep. Here's your instructions.
Oh, 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 those beautiful, and to trust that is the beauty.
Yeah. 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 Learning
When
the
it
truth of that is rich.
when everything else around you would be telling you something completely different. So I'll name that hopeful as well. Hopeful, grateful for hopefulness.
Yeah. The great anticipation of how could, or just plain wonder.
And what that meant for me was that all that trapped energy that was held here by the dense energy that wasn't listening, couldn't hear, wouldn't do anything with it, had been just, the top had just been peeled off of it. And that information is just flowing upwards. And I sat with, it's like, oh, I am completely making that up. And I was okay with that.
Yeah. I love letting it stay invisible for as long as I can stand it.
Ooh, I can't say I do.
Yeah, interesting thing about potential is it keeps expanding. It's its natural state. So apply the Goldilocks principle. It's about timing.
All about timing.
Yeah,
Not
holding
my,
on
and not
until
my,
everything's just right.
not my timing.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah.
And it could start with the simplest of words like a good morning, and you're having one great day after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that orienting on that expanding potential. Or the compounding conflicts.
I have a quote from Lao Tzu. When you realize there's nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you.
Yes. That all is complete.
Abundance
Inside is
within us.
potential, right?
Right.
It can be anything you imagine it to be.
Right.
I need two of those. When I get out of my car. I'm waiting for this spot.
And I have another one from Tony Robbins. When you are grateful, fear, fear, and
That's my priest.
Sorry, Chi, could you repeat it? I missed it.
this was a quote from Tony Robbins. When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears.
Hmm. In my story, the majority of my obvious action was the answer, stay the course. So I honor that. Not out of the storm, but I'm coming out the other side.
I'm sending much love and gratitude to you all.
Thank you, Chi. I received that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chi. I received that.
You're welcome.
So I choose to be flowing service. So it's perfect for you. I can receive it back. Reciprocating service.
I choose to be present in this now moment. With love and gratitude. And I'm sending it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chi. Yeah.
I want you to know that abundance is within you.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, that's right. Mm.
I'm choosing love.
She's in love. Yes. Yeah.
There's been something like a theme throughout my life
Yeah.
where like I haven't allowed love in, and there's been stuff around love coming up.
Mm.
And I know it's from my parents because I didn't feel any love growing up.
Mm.
It's a bit around love from my parents and around my childhood, but I'm allowing love in now. I'm allowing it in. Love is
Mm.
safe. Love doesn't hurt. Love is safe.
Oh my
Love is
God.
beautiful.
Mm. Oh my God. Yeah. Wow, I
Love
never
doesn't have
knew.
to hurt.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ian.
Love doesn't have to hurt. Love is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Love does
So
not
yeah, I'm
have to
allowing more
hurt.
love in. Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
missed your last ones, Ian.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know. I just feel love doesn't have to hurt, and I'm allowing
Yeah.
love in now. And I'm grateful that I see it.
Mm.
Love is just another flavor of potential.
Mm.
But it's you that received it, Ian. You've received it with new eyes now.
Yes.
And your eyes are your soul. that is really where you get to love you now. And it doesn't matter, because now you know that is the love you have. That's the love of that power you give to others. It's just a reflection now of who you truly are, that love, that heartbeat. Yeah, that
Yeah,
heartbeat.
in the past,
Yeah.
it was my wounding where I felt like I needed to give to be loved, but now it's like I don't need to give anything, just be myself, you know.
It's Chi's words. It's abundance is already inside of you.
Mm.
The
Mm.
love is already inside of you.
Mm. Oh my goodness. Thank you. It's so good. It's really lovely. Just lovely.
It's something we tune into.
Mm. 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 Sometimes you just gotta take it like a really deep breath and really like get to receive that, you know, and then just blow it out. So it's like just life oxygen, just allowing and letting go, just allowing and letting go, in the sense of just receiving what needs to be received and then let it go out, you know? And it
Right.
just, yeah, it just falls on the right places in the right, unexpectedly. And that's where you get the surprise after surprise after surprise, because it's just what you've planted and what you've been always, and you get to just grow it now into the garden or whatever you like. You know, and it's just, yeah, that's really becomes a very beautiful place for everybody to be in, not just you. So yeah, knowing this is beautiful. And I never knew this about Ian. I never knew that about his family. Never knew about his parents and how he felt, and never felt loved, but I can 100% resonate with that. That is like, oh my gosh, like, am I hearing things? But no, I've heard it. I heard it very loud and clear this morning. And so for me, wow, there. It's like structure has integrity. You can't deny the truth, because you've set me free, and having to know this, I can set myself free. That's the power. That's the power of love. That's the power of who you have always been, that truth, that you have always been loved, that you are love.
Yeah.
And the love that you give is so incredibly moving. It's life-changing. And having you in my life and the lives of others, we thank you. We thank you for all that you are, with everything you've gone through, and allowing to allow this moment to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Love and respect. Wow.
I think it's just having more compassion for myself as well, because I'm seeing, like, my dad was an alcoholic. It was really dysfunctional. My mum's very narcissistic, so both parents were very unloving, and I always felt like I had to do something to earn love. And I realized I had this wall up. I would give out love, but I wouldn't allow myself to receive love, because I had a belief that love hurts, and I had this wall up, but the wall's just coming down now. And it's like, allow myself to be loved, have compassion for myself. I was brought up by two very dysfunctional people, and they got the same from their parents. So have compassion for my parents and myself. You know, have compassion for my siblings because they're quite dysfunctional as well because of our upbringing. So yeah, just have love and compassion for them all, and allow love in my life. Love doesn't have to hurt. Love doesn't have to be painful. Love's beautiful. Allow support in. Allow myself to be supported. Allow myself to be loved. Allow myself to receive the love that I give.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, self-love is so important.
So thank you for this space because I feel like I'm not doing it alone anymore. So thank you.
You are loved, Ian.
Thank you, Nikki, for expanding my present moment, and Ian for injecting it with and expanding it with self-love, flowing out and back in through the whole group, through each individual, back into each individual. Nourishing waves in and out, nourishing tides in and out. Releasing the ceilings, the walls, the boundaries, the traps, the entanglements. Fluidity like water, fluidity of love.
It's funny, love backwards is almost like evolve.
And continues. Yes, and. All we have is the now. It's the time, the present. All we have is now. It is as real as it gets. It's just the present moment. Every present moment. In every moment, every present moment has a space. That can be filled with love or hate. Wonder and joy, or sadness, blame, gratitude, or bitterness. It's to know what you're filling your space with. Because in that space, there's you and there's me. There's me and you. And we choose what we fill that space with. So thank you for helping me fill this space with gratitude, abundance, joy, love, potential, friendship, choices, passions. Serving, allowing, expanding, releasing. Wrap it all up in a little bow, a gift, and say, here, it's our prosperity. You deserve it. I deserve it. We're worthy. You are worthy. I am worthy. Unwrap it. Take it in. Fill this space. For those that have never gathered in silence, what would you share with them that is the value of it?
I gotta go. Much love, prosperity, abundance to you all.
Thanks, G. Have a great day. Thanks for being here.
Thank you too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Much love.
Bye.
Bye.
Because if someone hasn't experienced a silent, they will see no value in it. They won't give themselves permission to explore it, to try it. They won't know what to look for. They won't know what to expect. Because we're always engaging with others on what did they say.
Like looking
What
into the sea. When it isn't calm, you get a pretty bad reflection of oneself. Once you calm down, you get a much clearer picture. Of everything. Not only yourself, but the world around you. Everything becomes much more clear when you've got a calm sea.
So true. Thank you, Heinz. It's like for people that want peace, it's found in the silence. It's found in going through the unpeaceful. It's sitting in the uncomfortable. Listening to yourself in the silence, listening to your responses, to your reactions, to your triggers. Oh, what a treat, Ebony.
Evening, Ebony.
Evening, Ebony. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
There she is. The Dragon
Yep.
Princess.
There's the time. I actually just recorded a new dragon meditation. How are you all?
So how did I know that?
To know things happen to my field.
Feeling great and loved.
Hey,
Feeling great and loved.
amazing. Amazing. That's what we like.
We were doing some nifty stuff today around potential.
Oh, yeah. So what have you discovered? What have you been playing with?
Well, there's a structure in the chat that says if somebody wants to fill her in, feel free.
Yeah, I want someone else to communicate it because I was part of the dialogue.
The abundance of self-love, appreciation of now. And in that now is what do we fill that space with? And in that space, there's you and me, me and you. What do we fill that space with? Appreciation of the silence. And where you came in is we were looking at what, for those who haven't experienced, who aren't familiar with, who are not comfortable in the silence, because that is the majority of society. Well, how could we encourage them to explore it? Why take on that cost? What would keep them from running away from their own silence? And inviting them to stay in it, to find it, to explore it, to see that all their potential is inside of them. Everything they want is available inside of them, through them. Not to them. No. You and I, we all have a time. We all have a present moment of now. And most we're usually looking away from the now, either backwards to the past or forward to the future. And as we do that, we fill that space with some feeling, some emotion. Either on a high level, it's expanding space or it's contracting space. It's loving space or it's hate and anger, frustration space. And then we fill that space between ourselves and others. So in that, full of appreciation of your potential, your genius, your greatness, appreciating that space, loving myself so you can love yourself, then we can love ourselves. That's the dragon journey we're on.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that and getting me up to speed there.
And invite you into it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Mm.
I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Nice. It's nice. It's a good feeling coming in. It's nice. I've hit it's contemplative. I can feel the contemplative energies in here straight away. It's so good, but there's a sense of peace as well. It's really lovely. Refreshing. Mm. Mm.
Wow. This is something I'm going to just allow to express what I'm feeling. And it's vibing very high now. But it's incredible because I have this wonder when Emily came in, it's like gathered together in harmony. Yeah. It's a great treasure, great treasure here. Jewels, like diamonds, everything that's sparkling and shiny. Yeah. And well, it's just quite interesting to see much beauty. Mm. Yeah, individually, but then bringing it together is like a treasure box. And you become the treasure. So I found my treasure. So I just want to say thank you.
That's beautiful.
You beautiful. But I thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your sharing, your presence.
Eating a little bit of the girl power now, actually. Sorry, boys, but there's a little on the girl trip now. Girl power now, baby. It's like she's got her wings flapping. Oh, thank you. That's right. Yeah. I have only queens around me, baby. Only queens. Oh, yeah. That's where that's where I vibe with. But I'm telling you, like, no time for like thinking you haven't got a crown, honey. You got a crown. Oh, yes. And it's time. It's just time to, wear it. It's just very interesting, but yeah, I love it. You know, it's a real, much of a desire, but very much a dream coming very, very true. Very true as I speak. So, you know what? Dreams do come true. And your desires do get, met by your commitment to yourself. Because it takes commitment. It ain't easy, this. This is not an easy ride, but it takes commitment. And when you're committed, it comes to the end and you will complete it. Just like that. So, yeah.
Very true.
I'm staying committed.
Yeah.
I'm staying committed. Yeah, that's right.
It's like a lifestyle thing.
That's right, Emily. That's right. That's right.
When it's a lifestyle, there is no, it only evolves. You only evolve.
Yeah. 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 You're committed to what you're doing. You're committed in everything that is going through a system that you want others to acknowledge and be educated to know the meaning of what this means and what is happening. That is change. That is what is change. That is change in the now moment, doing the physical work.
Yeah.
But now as a spiritual being, this is where it's going to get expansive because it's just going to spread like Wi-Fi. It's just going to, whatever needs to burn, it will burn. And everything that needs to come into this now, reforce, knowing what is the truth, it's going to come. It's going to come. It's come already, but it's going to come.
Yep, 100%. There's no other way.
There's no other way, my dear. There you go, my dear. That's right. Watch it now. Watch it take us there to the other side. Oh, yes. Yes. I know you know this. So I'm not going to give meaning to it. I'm just going to say it as it is. I'm telling you. Wow, man. I got to tell you, I've got a gear on that is so pretty at the moment, but ready to fly with an absolute warrior. And it's like, it's like, let's go. It's like, oh my God, let's go. Yes. And others are joining, like they're just joining by the freaking numbers. Because we haven't got numbers anymore. It's just numbers. This is coming. And it's like flying the highest ever. Like, just, yeah.
Mm.
So thank you, because that's what's happening. Yeah, it's happening. It's really happening. And it's, yeah, such a good thing.
It is. It is, absolutely.
Mm, mm. And our daughters and our sons and their children's lives, you know, the lives that you just, through your life, it meant so much. And you gave your absolute that they could have life. And now they get to live the life that you
Yeah.
have created, not just for a small circle, but for all corners of the earth.
That's the motivation.
Yeah. 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 And that mother, I always see it as a mother, because mother is important, very important. And knowing that you have 4 children, I have to just come back to that, you know. You said it once, but I've repeated it about at least a couple of times, because I go, wow, that's something right there. Just right there. Not even, you know, yeah. So that mothering.
Yeah,
That's
I feel
the
like
earth.
that nurturing. It's the
Yeah.
nurturing energy.
And then just bringing the spark into everything that is fun. And yet you love. And it comes effortless.
Nikki, you're a great proof of what you can find in the silence. Been silent all day almost, and all of a sudden, boom, you just exploded with love.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can feel it so much. Yeah.
Yeah. It's connection, you know, it's connection. And that's the connection that we're all seeking for, that connection that is heart-centered, but more so that we can also articulate and give meaning and understanding. Because a lot of times people do want to know, but they just don't know. You know? So it's that knowing. It's a knowing. and in that silence, as we speak about, that's where you'll know. Because it doesn't matter how many people tell you or what you think you've achieved or done or haven't done. When you know that you know, that's all that matters. Because the noise will not be any more noise. You'll have your complete direction in that moment, what to do and what to say and how you want to feel. That's what it does.
So true. Words of wisdom right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as Chi says, his name is Rock of Wisdom, if I'm correct. Rock of Wisdom. That's his name. That's what his name means. Chi. He mentioned that. It means
It's his
Rock
full name.
of Wisdom. Yeah, his full name. Oh, hello there. Full name. Full name. Yeah. There it is. That's it. There you go. Rock of Wisdom. Mm. It's a treasure chest, yeah. That's all I can say. Literally, we found our treasure chest.
It's
And a
pleasure.
jewel, a real diamond, a real diamond, you have to dig for, baby. Yeah. But when it comes out, Superman, superhuman, whatever you want to call yourself, you will be it. Because you've always been it. Yeah. It just had to be covered for a little bitty, you know? Maybe longer than you thought, but hey, never the right time when it's the time, and it's the time to say, I'm going to marry this one. This is the one, my dear, with the ring on my finger. Let's go. Thank you. A lot of power in a lot of power. Yeah, a lot of power. It's explosive. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki, for letting us be part of your treasure.
Oh, thank you. Yes. You're welcome. Thank you. It doesn't get better than this. This is the best. And that's just what I'm going to say it like that. You can make assumptions. You can think, no, that's okay. But I'm going to say this is the best of the best. Each and every one of you. When you get this, when you truly get this, you will value it like a diamond.
And just like diamonds, when they're in the rough, they just need a little love to make them really shine, to shape them and turn them into whatever shape you like them to be.
The ones with lots of facets so they sparkle more.
That's what the friendship does here. She has a lot of love that helps take off those chippy edges.
Mm. Or maybe it's learning to love those rough parts as well and find the sparkle that comes from those just as they are.
To get them to look at them from another point of view.
Mm. Because, you know, when the sun hits those rough spots, like it sends out different like beams of light, different perspectives. It's not all as it would be expected. Throws out different rays, which are beautiful in their own right.
That is really all there is to learn, is to appreciate those rough spots.
Mm.
Because it's easy to appreciate the good times, the good stuff.
For me, those are spots that let me know how far I've come.
I'm going to disturb everyone now and just say thank you. I'm going to have to leave. Have a blessed day. Bye for now.
Okay. Love you, Nikki. Have a good day.
Love, love, love.
You, Nikki, have a good day. Bye.
Bye, Nikki.
I think there's been moments like, you know, when you get in those moments where you might be having a rough time or processing some really heavy emotions, and then stopping to think also like, oh my gosh, like this is part of the human experience. How blessed am I to actually even be feeling this? Like, and I'm talking about like heavy emotions, you know, like with expressed tears and pain and everything, but then stopping to realize that, yeah, part of the human experience is being able to feel these things and express this, and like that's a blessing in itself. Sometimes we don't realize that until we've got through it. But when we realize it, when we're going through it, it can sometimes like pull us out of it instantly as well and assist in the processing.
Mhm.
when we remember.
Yeah, maybe it's the blessing, you know,
Mhm. Yeah.
just the fact that we can feel anything.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
And with those bad times, we get to appreciate the good times even more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gives a great contrast.
Well, the other side is pretty neutral as
Mm.
far as feelings are concerned. As in, there aren't any.
Yeah.
So we can either turn and look at it, allow it, face it, see it for what it is, or keep bumping into that lesson again and again and again.
Yeah.
Once you face it, you realize how hard you've made it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think it's like the layers? Because there's so many layers that, you know, like in this whole human experience, we pack on so many different layers that understanding the truth of a particular pattern or cycle, like takes the dissolving of those layers, because each layer puts a different spin on things. And so it's almost like we're tricked into thinking, aha, I've worked it out. And then it will reappear, you know, in a different form. And you're like, hang on. So then you have to do that layer. And then, so yeah, depending on how many layers you have to work through because of what you've chosen, that's created the layers. Like, yeah, some people go, and that's why I think some people go, I'm just not even. I'm not doing it. I'm just staying how I am, because it's too hard to unpack or dissolve or look at the layers they've created.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
An alarm bell should go off when I tell myself, I got this. Really?
Well, and you do have to say that.
Yeah.
But I do, that's how it appears to me, Ebony, is layers, and not necessarily the way they were laid down.
Correct. Yeah. That's, yep. I feel that way too. Yeah.
And yet we want to
So-
look for them. Go, when did we make that one, or when was that one created? We want to unload all of the layers. And that's all. It's like in time they do.
Yeah. I think Craig and I were speaking about this. It's funny because it's like I get this tunnel vision. If I know there's an issue, there's like, I get tunnel vision. I'm like, what is the core problem here? Like, what is the core problem? And so like, I just have to, my focus is trying to find the core of the problem instead of all the layers. Because I figure if I work on the core problem, then all of the layers will dissolve rather than sifting through all the layers. So I tackle things a little bit differently. And in that
So true.
process, yeah, like I just think it's an easy way rather than, otherwise we could spend so long and get so distracted with the
Mhm.
layers.
Mhm.
Sometimes we just need to contemplate like how to get to the core, and through the process of getting to the core, we discover some layers, and it all ties into that core, doesn't it?
That's right. And we discover what it is that we want. Like, what are we going for? What is it that we need to know?
Yeah.
That's why the problem's there, if we want to call it a problem. But the disturbance, the chaos,
Yeah.
the situation. And you're exactly, man, we can get so distracted up the surface without ever even going into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Classic avoidance.
Mm. And we see it everywhere, like even in conversations, even with people that don't have the capacity to take responsibility for themselves, like in conversations, or like they will just use that whole distract tactic to get away from what the core problem was. So it's not even a matter of like, you know, like individual core distortions or anything. It's like even, it's in everyday conversations where people just try and railroad themselves.
So automatic, they don't even realize they're doing it.
Yeah. It's actually one of like, it's really frustrating. And I try not to get frustrated, obviously, but it's really noticeable because I'm like, hang on, this is not the core problem. Now we're like way off track. Come back here. Let's have a look over here.
Right? It's just a layer that gives you the idea that, oh, there's a layer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And only when we're aware of the layer, when they see it in themselves, is the only way it gets let go of.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to do any process or anything else with it except for just to be aware.
Yeah.
To see it. Oop, it's gone. Now,
Yeah.
of course, now another layer comes into it, right? It fills in that void, that gap.
Yeah.
We just don't know when.
Yeah. It's just so deeper. It just goes deeper and deeper though. And that's part of like that whole, like enjoying the process of it as well. Like it's kind of like, it's a little bit of an investigation game, isn't it? Really? It's funny, investigators. But I think a lot of it, like I don't know, there's usually like, there's core truths that are relative and resonate within each of us, but just present in so many different ways. And I'm talking, just sort of noticed that in the last sort of year or two, even with like betrayal, deceit, all these types of things, but they all come back to that self-abandonment. Right? And so the act of self-abandoning one's own heart and needs and truths creates all these layers that present as forms of deceit or betrayal or abandonment, or, you know, all these things. It's all relative, and it creates like a web. It does actually create a web. And so many people have these underlying programs where they self-abandon and then blame everyone else
Yeah.
for the hurt, but it's not. They've actually generated it because they've set a standard by self-abandoning. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that pattern, at least for me anyway, that pattern had to escalate in order for it to finally be resolved.
Yes. Yeah,
You know,
same.
like it escalated into seriously a near-death experience.
Mm-hmm. I'm hearing you. Yeah.
And then there's little reminders of it that show up every now and again, just to, like I said before, to remind me how far I've come. That this still affects me a bit, but not like it once did.
Yeah, when little things come up, I don't know. I think they're reminders of the importance of staying true to one's own heart and one's self, because we know the consequences of not doing that.
Of not.
You know?
Yeah.
So you can only then be grateful for the experiences because they've led to that knowing.
Yes.
And greater sense of self-worth and value and self-love, really. The importance of, And it shows how many layers that were there in order for it to come about in a way that it's had to shock the layers off. And, you know,
That's a good word. Shock the layers off. That rings true to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it goes deep.
Yeah. Because there's no way I would have willingly or even premeditated getting myself into that situation.
No.
No, not at all. Not at all, because I've kind of been avoiding it my whole life. You know, so it kind of had to be like a shock treatment of some kind.
Yeah, it's like a core shock treatment. When it hits the core, that's when it has the shock of, and the layers, all of them just kind of like shift because you've got to the core. That's when the impact happens, I think.
Yeah. Like, you know, when the dentist checks your teeth and he finds one of those tender spots and you just about jump out of the chair and hit the ceiling, right? It's like that kind of thing. Oh, I didn't even know that was there.
Yeah, gosh. Oh, that's horrible. That's a horrible thought. Cringe.
Yeah.
That's what resistance is bringing forth for us. Right? When that resistance that leads us to that avoiding or moving away from it, it's like that uncomfortable resistance that don't want to go there, right? That pattern is just trying to bring it into existence to say, examine me, become aware of this, shock me, right? And so and when we ignore it, then we have to work to the point that things become a shock, right? To be like, oh, I can't hold on to this any longer. I've got to look at it.
Yeah.
That's the,
Yeah, that's what
and
pain is
ultimately,
good for.
yeah.
Well, there's only so long that we can go against our natural like flow
Yes.
before the universe like goes and kicks us into the right direction.
Yes. In a world that we think we have to do what everyone has been telling us, right? Like telling us that's the right way to do it.
Yeah. Not that I've really
And
listened to anyone.
a lot of people do
They do,
for a long
yes.
time.
Yeah. So I'm just hearing my mum say, why don't you just do as you're told? I'm like, well, because my way's better. You're doing
That's
it
how
the
those
hard.
patterns start.
Mm,
Somebody that's suggesting that your way isn't better.
mm.
No, and there is no truth according to their rules. There is no validation that supports it in using their rules as the background.
Mm.
Yeah, because you know innately that that someone else's rules are when someone else's rules are out of sync with you.
Yeah, well, if it's just not, if you can see a way that's easier for yourself and creates more of an ideal outcome, then why wouldn't you do that? But if they haven't experienced anything and they've always done things the same, then you wouldn't expect them to know any different because they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, it's funny. I think I remember my mum. My mum did tell me that I drove her crazy. If she said don't touch something, then I would have to touch it.
Yeah. Oh, me too. I was famous for doing that.
Yeah.
And looking her in the eye when I was
Yes.
doing it, moving my hand toward whatever it was.
Yes. That's yep. It's like, why? What will happen if I touch it? Let me see. I need to see for myself.
Yeah, that's the problem with don't touch. Puts focus on it.
Yeah, that's right. Don't touch. Gosh.
We used to have a fireplace actually two fireplaces in our house when my kids were small. And I kind of made up my mind that we were going to have fun with the fireplace and that the kids were going to have a good respect for it. So what I did is I taught them how to build fires, and and I'd even grab their hands and we'd move them toward the fire. And so, that, what I mean? It's going to get hot. So, but I'm holding your hand here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that kind of thing. And they had their own respect. They could make fires for themselves and all this kind of stuff. And, burn their own marshmallows and whatever the heck they wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, this is see, and through your experience of being told don't touch, you knew exactly then, like you knew yourself that you didn't want to say don't touch, so you taught them otherwise. So there's expansion there, breaking of cycles, which is that's really cool. I love those.
Yeah.
when you teach them about to respect the fire, it's much better than say don't touch. Don't touch puts out the question why.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was parented partly by don't, and partly by take my word for it, and then also by demonstration too. And the take my word for it isn't all that great either. You know, you got to go the next level with that.
Yeah.
As in demonstrate it somehow or other.
My dad told me at a young age he would love to give me all his experiences, but they wouldn't be worth anything without the experience behind them.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah, and that's the point. It's about the experience and sharing your experiences. Like, how often do parents tell you what to do or share an experience they had?
I often said we all have to experience the same things, but in way different ways we're getting it. Some get it easy and some get it real hard, but those who get it hard probably learned it better than the one who got it easy.
Yeah, it's a strange thing when, like, back in the day, like, parents, like, I know that not every parent was like this, but some parents would say, well, I had to go through that, so what's the big deal? Like, and it's kind of like, well, if you had to go through that, then you know what it feels like, so why would you want me to go through that? To me, that's like really cruel.
Yeah, it's kind of doggy logic, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But because that's what was drilled into them,
Yeah.
you know, monkey see, monkey do type of thing. But it just was so, like, just so disconnected. I'm so glad that, like, I didn't grow up in, like, the, you know, in the old days. No, like in the old days, like in the 1920s.
You're being so diplomatic right now.
I'm talking about, like, you know, like the days where you didn't have a voice, like you didn't have a voice, you just had to echo.
Yeah.
You know, we really have come a long way, and we're all learning to use our voice now and annihilate that echo.
Yeah.
I can imagine that's just what our kids saying. Imagine growing up in the old days without a smartphone, a tablet, and all that. Whoa, it must have been hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just really looking forward to the future and future children that won't have to deal with things like karma the way that we have.
Yeah.
And you know, and we'll have a much better memory of what they've learned in previous lifetimes when they're still small and other stuff like that. Like, it's going to get more and more like that. In fact, it's already starting to be really obvious to me, but
absolutely. They're already here.
Yeah, young children. I mean, we get people like Pascal, you know, communicating energetically with his 6-month-old son, right? I mean, you get enough people doing that kind of stuff, and he's going to remember who he is for long into his life, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's really amazing how children they're so different. And if you tap in, they can so easily bring forward information out of their heart. If you just ask them, just say, ask your heart. ask your heart this, and they can just draw out information just like so matter of factly in an instant.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I've even heard the suggestion that those of us who are playing in awareness and, you know, self-awareness and playing with our own consciousness right now, those of us who are actually making the transition and you know, and kind of going into the depth of that, the one benefit of doing that is we're going to live much longer than what's considered normal. And the other thing is we'll get to come back in a way where we're children again that reap the benefit of the work that we're doing right now.
Mm.
So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the awareness of past lives and stuff like that. You know, more of a retained memory from one lifetime to another and all that kind of thing. So yeah, now is a really good time to be alive.
Oh, it's amazing. It's like epic. It's the best. It's the best. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah. I think that every day something will make me feel just so appreciative of that. And I just think, oh my gosh, like seriously,
Yeah.
what an epic time to be alive.
Yeah. Yeah. The benefits and the rewards will just keep growing and expanding from here on out. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Learning how to be a real human as originally designed.
Yeah. I managed to write a chapter of my book today, and it was the chapter's called The Loyalty Program. And it's about shifting paradigms and coming out of that old pattern or that old cycle where your loyalty to like another has superseded your loyalty to yourself, and the recognition of that program when you're in that transition state and like feeling that sense of sadness and almost like you know, like you could potentially continue on or start another cycle of guilt and everything like this if you don't pull up and go, well, actually, that's not me. That's not me. And that is not where I am. That is part of the old program. And then being able to refocus and, you know, congratulate yourself and utilize that emotion to reprogram yourself in the new paradigm and invite in all of that and dissolve the rest. So that was cool that I managed to get that out today.
Wow.
It flowed nicely too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, Matt. I think it took
Moment
me
of
about,
inspiration that was.
yeah, it was. Well, it's been brewing for the last few weeks.
Yes.
I did a bit of recording of it, and then yeah, I was like, right, I've got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good bit.
Oh God. It's really windy here. What's everyone's weather over there been like? Is everyone okay? No fires or anything? I don't know where everyone is.
Wind and rain. Welcome to Denmark.
Yeah.
Denmark. Yeah. Is Denmark very far away from Norway?
No, it's just below Norway. If you go to the western side of Norway, there's a place where they got sandy beaches and stuff. It's called Bohug. That was where Denmark, at once upon a time, long time ago, was to Norway in a way.
I think I remember my sister talking about this place actually. And they took my mum to the beach, and the beaches there aren't, they're okay, but they're nothing like the beaches in Australia. And she was
Denmark
like,
is-
oh,
Denmark is almost nothing but beach.
no. Oh,
Denmark is
really?
it's just about 100 kilometers wide and the widest place, and then we got the Atlantic Ocean to one side and the Northern Sea to the other side. So Denmark is a really small country. 5 million, 5.4 now, I think. And we got a tree that's called Bøg in Denmark, but then I looked it up and what's it? Is it called in other countries? It's called the beach sea tree. It only grows here. And then in the upper parts of Germany that also lies with the Northern Sea, but nowhere else.
For some reason, I had Denmark pinned as like a place with pine trees and stuff, maybe because of Norway.
Denmark's highest point is 187 meters tall. It's just leftovers from the Ice Age. What was it's very earthy and lots of flowers and stuff, because my dead ex-wife came from Norway and she would just walk around almost every time picking flowers from everywhere, even people's gardens and stuff. She would ask, oh, can I pick? Oh, yeah, you can go have a flower. She loved the flower country. We got almost every tree and everything, but there is the world's largest, tallest ground, is it called ground mountain or something, but it lies 3 kilometers below Denmark. It's what Denmark is built upon.
I'll have to put Denmark on the list. What are the ley lines and things like that in Denmark? Are there ley lines that are significant or any kind of...
Perhaps just outside Esbjerg, where the, what is it called, the current that goes around the world, that transfers hot water to cold water, and it ends in Esbjerg, and then it starts on top, just between Denmark and Norway. It starts again, so it's the end station and the beginning. So lots of ship traffic.
Interesting. Interesting. What about like UFO sightings and stuff like?
Or what?
Like UFO sightings, like alien sightings and things like this.
We don't see much of that in Denmark, but it's probably just as much as everywhere else. But when you only got 5.4 million people and not many are looking through the skies for it, so I believe the more that are looking, the more you'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
But lots of fish have returned now the last couple of years. Tuna has returned, and even we have the great white, and lots of orcas are coming through Denmark now. It seems like everything is starting up again. It's like they said about Europe that Denmark is turning into become the new sunny beach.
Wow. Oh, that's so good to hear. Quite amazing, actually.
Yeah, when I go back to my childhood, I remember we had snow and everything. Now snow is something we rarely get. It's becoming much hotter. So
What about where you're in the desert, aren't you, Craig?
Yeah, I'm in Arizona. It's actually starting to get cooler here finally.
You guys were burning up a little bit, weren't you? A couple of weeks
Yeah,
ago.
yeah. It was 115 on average for about 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. And yesterday, I think it hit 100. It's supposed to be cooling off. So
How
today
much
was
is that again? What's that in Celsius again?
100 is about, I think it's 42 or 43 Celsius.
Oh my God, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. 115 is, yeah, is more like 50.
Oh. What about you, Jesse? What's your, where does Jesse, is he in the, I know he's in the city somewhere.
Yeah, Jesse's not too far from Death Valley, which is usually the hottest spot on North American continent, actually.
Yeah, that's the other side of the mountain. So we don't get as hot as that, but it is a high desert, north of LA, high desert, San Joaquin Valley. So it's cooling off. So we're dropping into the mid 90s for our temperatures. So fall's starting.
Yeah. Well, at least if you're in the deserts, like there's little chance of fires and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, not around us. We don't, we get too much water, there's flooding, and earthquakes. So those are the two things we get.
Oh, really? Have you experienced like earthquakes or anything? Like
Not a hectic one that affected us any, but they've moved and sloshed water out of the pool and
oh wow.
So yeah, I'd say I've noticeably felt 2 in the 20 years I've been here.
Okay, yeah, so they're not like a common thing, they're not something you experience like, yeah.
Little ones happen all the time, but you don't necessarily feel them.
Yeah. And do you have ley lines or anything through? Is there any ley lines that go through the deserts near you guys? Like, is there any significant earth pathways or anything?
None. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, because it makes me wonder about the earthquakes, like if it's got something to do with like the ley lines. I know that the tectonic plates are obviously shifting. I just wonder, like, with that shift in energy there, if it, yeah, if there's a junction, you know, where it's,
Yeah, there's a fault line. It runs inland from San Francisco and it runs kind of in a southeast direction.
Isn't that part of the San Andrea Falls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
lots of
yeah.
small side pockets going out.
Yeah.
San Andreas. Is that different to like what there used to be like a game with San Andreas in it? It's probably not a good game. Mm. Have you noticed that they don't have a lot of information? Well, they have information about the ley lines, but there's no like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone's got any information. Whenever I look for the ley lines in Australia, there's not a lot of information. You get bits and pieces from everywhere, which makes me wonder why. And then one of the bigger earthquakes we've had in the last few years that's erupted a couple of times since, that's when they pointed out, oh, there's like a ley line under there. But no one even knew about it. They don't really, it's not really something that's talked about a lot yet. Like it's a pretty important aspect to the Earth's health. They look again at everything that's sort of outside of or around the Earth and not in, which is kind of reflective, isn't it? When I say it out loud, of like the human condition.
Yeah, like we avoid everything until it's actually an issue.
They don't
Yeah.
tell us much about what's going on beneath.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So it's like all like outside stuff, things that we can see, things that we can, but if it's not in our view, well, we just won't worry about that until it erupts.
They're afraid we should get the fear mind off them and onto the nature itself. Nature does whatever nature always done.
Maybe that's the point. Maybe that is exactly the point, because we know that nature moves in patterns and cycles and evolves. If everyone was attuned to that, then we would know too much, because we would know too much. So they don't openly share too much. You've got to go seeking. It's not something that they naturally share with us. We have to specialize, it's a specialized field, even though it affects us all on a daily basis in how we live. Anyway, sorry, I was just going off on a little thought pattern rant.
So you have earthquakes in Australia?
Yeah, we do, but not hugely, not like heaps, but we have in the last few years. Actually, you know what? Like I've actually probably even 10 years, I've had like been in houses where the whole walls have looked like they're wobbling.
Wow.
Really bizarre. Yeah, like you know how things move in waves, like the walls were moving in waves. It was the most bizarrest thing, because it's, how does a structure wobble? Like not just wobble, move in waves.
It's following the rhythm of the building from below, feeling the vibration, and then it goes into it.
So to see that, like, because everything's so structured in 3D, and then to see a whole like wall shift like into a waveform was like, oh my God. Very bizarre. Very bizarre. But yeah, we've had also like earthquakes where everything in the house is shaking, but nothing outside is shaking. Like none of the plants that are hanging or like on the ground. There's been really weird earthquakes. That have left you going, what the hell was that? Was it actually an earthquake? Was it an underground explosion? Or is it, because it kind of doesn't make sense. It was, so yeah. But we do have earthquakes, yes. There was one in the city a couple of years ago, actually. Brought down some old buildings, affected quite a few people. Yeah. We don't have the big tornadoes or anything, though. Does Denmark have what natural things does Denmark have?
We have storms, lots of that. When I was 25, that's 14 years ago, we had a storm that took down a third of our forests in Denmark. The trees were just everywhere. They were lying on the road. I remember I was living with my big brother, and it took 3 days for them to clear the roads.
Was it a man-made one? Was it like a man-made storm, like an intentional one, like the fires and things?
No, it's because, like I said, we are at the end of the Gulf Stream, and sometimes it picks up a really large storm, and when it hits a country with no mountains or anything, it just swipes over, and we lie in a pocket between Sweden and Norway, which have mountains, so we are sort of the end station for it.
Yeah.
And I saw on television 10 years ago, we had a twist, or someone had just bought a nice farm where there was a restaurant in the middle link of the house, and a twister had come straight through the driveway and just took away the whole restaurant, left the 2 other houses totally safe. And they just bought it the same day, so they hadn't got insurance on it.
No, that sucks. How bizarre to see. Even like, I've never seen a tornado or a twister go through, but you see like there's some buildings that have been like totally picked up and destroyed or flattened, and then there's buildings right next door that have not even been touched. It's really bizarre.
Yeah, normally we don't get twisters that size. We just get air pumps, or what they're called, the small ones that pick up whatever the farmers lift out. So they look pretty, but that one had enough energy to take out stuff. But they're rare. I believe I think I've heard about 4 or 5 of them during my lifetime that had that much power. But we do live with 2 oceans and a lot of heat and moisture, so it is possible for them to create here. I think the biggest problems in Denmark is because we're so low, that when the storms come, they push water way inland. Much salt water destroys everything, and they build dams and everything. As soon as they hear about storms are coming, oh, up with the dams, out with the sandbags, and they start building. But when you are a country that doesn't make much space on the world map, you can't expect us to have a lot of natural phenomena over the time. We probably have just as much as anyone else if you size it up, but we're sort of lying just behind Great Britain and stuff. So.
I'm still blown away that it's not like covered in trees and that you've got all beach there. It's totally different. How you've explained it is totally different. So thank you for that insight.
We do have lots of trees, but we've got about 300 meters to a kilometer on each side. That's beach and beachy stuff. And when you go to the top of where I live in Nordjylland, all of it is almost beach. We got a wandering cliff that wanders about half a meter each year. So it'll sometimes it just wanders over stuff and eats up houses and stuff over the years. So people have to move, and they say in about 50 years it's made all of its movement, and then it's on the other side to the other ocean.
Did you say a wandering cliff?
Yep. It's wandering. It's just over the years it's been moving and moving, and I think it's eating up places that just turns to sand because it was great earth before, but now it's just sand because it's been moving across the country. I believe they say it's the only one in the world. It just wanders.
It's amazing. I love that. A wandering cliff. You would think that it would erode like over time if it's journeying.
I believe they're talking about that in 10 or 15 years it's going to eat the road, so they need to build a new road around it or above it or something. And if you go to Skagen or Top Point, you can stand with one foot in the Atlantic Ocean and another foot in the Northern Sea, and waves will come from both sides to hit your feet. One will hit one feet and the other will hit the other. Just coming in and meeting.
I'm going to go now, people. Thank you, everybody. Today's been great.
Have a great day, Craig.
Have a good day.
Take care, Grace.
Bye, Craig. I'm gonna get on with my day too, guys. Appreciate you all. Until next time.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks all. Bye.
Bye, everybody.